Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Good evening and welcome to the June 2nd, 2025 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. As the hour is 6 o'clock, I am now calling the meeting to order. Our first two business items this evening is hopefully to go into non-public for approximately 50 minutes, at which time we will exit non-public and have a board interview promptly at 6:50 and hopefully return back for the regular business meeting at 7 o'clock. I would now entertain a motion to enter into non-public under RSA 91A32L.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Selectwoman Belanger, second by Selectwoman Gilman. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please.
Selectman Gilman?
Aye.
Selectman Chartran?
Aye.
Clerk says aye, Mr. Chair.
Aye, motion passes 4-0.
For this week's report, a summer of fun awaits you with Parks and Rec. Senior night for Blue Hawks lacrosse. Mini forest project coming to Exeter. Memorial Day parade to be held on Monday. A final reminder about the bike rodeo. And designs are selected by the Pearpoint Park Committee. For Exeter TV, I'm Dan Monchek, and this is the Exeter Biweekly Report. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Exeter. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and like this video to help spread the word about the show and all things Exeter. For the first segment, our very own Gabe Perez was struggling to think of what to do this summer until an unlikely friend stopped by the office to give him a hand.
Hello, sailor. What? Are you me? That's right. I'm you from an alternate dimension where instead of working at Exeter TV, we work at Exeter's Parks and Rec department. Weird. Seems I always end up in Exeter. It's called fate, kid. Look it up. If you're me from another dimension, then what are you doing here? This is a part of the timeline where you're looking for something to do this summer. And unless you figure out what to do, Gabe, something terrible is going to happen. What's going to happen? No time. Here's everything that's coming to Exeter's Parks and Rec this summer that's going to make everything better. May is Water Safety Month, and Exeter's Parks and Recs likes to make sure that the town of Exeter stays safe and secure. Starting back on May 23rd, the kayaks will be returning, and Parks and Rec will be providing safety equipment such as life vests and instructions to make sure you're okay. Of course, if rivers aren't your thing, the Dan Healy Memorial Pool will be opening just around the corner. June 7th is its official opening day, so you can come on by, enjoy some treats, and swim very safely in the pool while you're protected by lifeguards. Of course, if water isn't quite your thing, there's also Planet Playground will be opening its airlocks just around the corner, which reminds me, the Buy a Brick program is still open, so if you're looking to contribute and help keep the park safe and healthy, you can visit the town website. So check it out. Don't forget the tennis courts, pickleball, tennis, and all kinds of games happening all summer long. Also, concerts are coming back, so make sure to check the Parks and Rec. Wait a minute. Oh, hey Gabe. Were you paying attention at all? No. I told you something bad's going to happen if you don't cure your boredom. Oh yeah, I forgot. So what are you gonna do then? Touch grass. Right.
Earlier this month, Bill Ball Stadium hosted senior night for the outgoing Blue Hawk lacrosse team. We went down to catch the action.
We want to welcome you to William Ball Stadium for tonight's lacrosse contest between the Dover Green Wave and the Exeter Blue Hawks. It's a special night because it's senior night where we acknowledge the senior members of the Blue Hawk team and their families. All right, let's get things underway. on goal number 12, number 11, Marshall Lazarus. Number 17, Blue on goal number 15, Jackson Green. 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 Our final score, the Exeter Blue Hawks 16, Dover Green Waves 6.
The First Unitarian Universalist Society of Exeter, or FUSE, is launching a mini-forest project next to their church on Elm Street. We met up with members of FUSE to learn more about this project. Climate change and deforestation can feel like overwhelming issues, and it's hard to know where to even begin to help. The congregation at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Exeter are taking actions into their own hands and fighting these issues head-on by planting a mini-forest right here in downtown Exeter. Construction efforts for the forest are beginning to take place, so we stopped by to see it firsthand.
Hannah Lewis wrote a book, Mini Forest Revolution, that's inspired by Akira Miyawaki, who's a Japanese ecologist, I guess, who has made these mini forests as small as 2 car spaces all over the world. And when they come up, they're able to provide habitat for wildlife and obviously sequester carbon from the air and grow up to be very big trees in a fairly short period of time, surprisingly.
The excitement for this project has led many members of the congregation to step up and get their hands dirty, building the forest themselves.
People are jumping in and helping to be able to see that it comes to fruition. So from that standpoint, it's been very satisfying to have so many people involved.
Through outside fundraising, the church is building the space for all people of Exeter to use and enjoy.
This will clearly provide for the general community a quiet corner. Sometimes you just need a little isolation, and being among these trees as they develop over the next 20 years will provide a place of solace for people.
Well, as I say, it's for your grandchildren, really.
Right.
So.
If you're interested in learning more about this project, you can head over to the church's website at exeteruu.org. Up next, Detective Bruce Page has all the info you need to know about this weekend's bike rodeo.
Hi everybody, I'm Detective Page from the Exeter Police Department. We want to invite everybody out for our annual bike rodeo, which is going to be held on May 24th this year from 9 to 11 behind the Lincoln Street School. We've got some awesome bikes that are going to be raffled off this year, courtesy of the Service Credit Union. They purchased these from Philbrook Sport, in Dover. Exeter Hospital is going to be there. They'll be checking helmets. We've got a ton of helmets to give away to the kids. We've got some small sizes, and Exeter Fire Department is a huge helper at this. They'll be checking your bikes to make sure they're roadworthy. We're going to have all kinds of teeter-totters and ramps and cool stuff for the kids going. And we're going to, most importantly, we're going to teach bike safety to the kids that day. So hope to see everybody May 24th, 9 to 11, behind the Lincoln Street School.
Since 1868, Memorial Day has long honored the history and sacrifice of those who keep our country safe. In the beginning, being used to commemorate Civil War soldiers, Memorial Day has transcended beyond America's original largest internal conflict and now honors those who fought and died for our country in whatever ways it comes. Exeter will continue this long-standing tradition this Monday on the 26th. The town of Exeter will put on its Memorial Day parade. Kicking off, the event will begin in Swayze Parkway, where the initial ceremony will start. From there, the parade will make its way up Water Street, turning onto Front Street past the bandstand, making their way to Gale Park, where the first stop begins. From there, we continue to Winter Street Cemetery to end off the entire ceremony honoring those who passed right by our side. Exeter has kept this long-standing tradition for years now and is not looking to end it anytime soon. Whether it's personal to you or to the United States, the town of Exeter encourages and welcomes you to take part in this important event.
And for our last segment, the survey results are in for what the public wants to see at the newly acquired downtown lot and soon-to-be Pearpoint Park. The Stakeholders Committee met earlier this month to discuss their findings and next steps. We have a quick summary from our Meeting Minute series. This is your Meeting Minute for the May 15th Pearpoint Park Stakeholders Advisory Committee meeting. This committee has been hard at work determining the future of the property located at 23 Water Street, turning the abandoned lot into a park for all Exeter residents to enjoy. The committee put together 3 design concepts for the park. Over the past few weeks, they have been surveying the public to help determine people's favorite design.
It may be frustrating to some, designing by committee. However, I think it is also rewarding, and that we not only can include our own thoughts, but we were given the opportunity and the direction from the town to get the town's thoughts. And in both cases, in both surveys, we got outstanding responses.
Over 15 days, 570 people voiced their opinion. Using a weighted average, the Shady Bosque was the clear winner, gaining the majority vote. With the survey results in mind, on June 30th, the committee will present all 3 design concepts to the Select Board, with the Shady Bosque as their preferred design.
On June 30th, we're presenting 3 options with 3 order of magnitude budgets and 1 preferred design vote and the theme votes. That's it. We're not going any further than that on June 30th. Nobody's allocating money, nobody's hiring anybody, no RFQs are going out, nothing.
The design is a concept yet to be nailed down. It is not
You're right.
finished construction document. It is a concept.
The next Pearpoint Park Stakeholder Advisory Committee meeting will take place on June 26th. See you there. That does it for this week's report. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to help spread the word. Head over to the town website and subscribe to the town email newsletter to get this show and other local news sent straight to your inbox. We'll be back on June 6th with the next edition of the show. For Exeter TV, I'm Dan Monchek, and this has been the Exeter Biweekly Report. Have a great weekend, Exeter. Downtown lot and soon-to-be Pearpoint Park Stakeholders Advisory Committee met earlier this month to discuss the findings and the next steps. We have a summary right here, the quick meeting series.
Let's just wait.
Yeah. For this week's report, a summer of fun awaits you with Parks and Rec. Senior night for Blue Hawks lacrosse. Mini forest project coming to Exeter. Memorial Day parade to be held on Monday. A final reminder about the bike rodeo. And designs are selected by the Pearpoint Park Committee. For Exeter TV, I'm Dan Monchek, and this is the Exeter Biweekly Report. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Exeter. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and like this video to help spread the word about the show and all things Exeter. For the first segment, our very own Gabe Perez was struggling to think of what to do this summer until an unlikely friend stopped by the office to give him a hand.
Hello, sailor. What? Are you me? That's right. I'm you from an alternate dimension where instead of working at Exeter TV, we work at Exeter's Parks and Rec department. Weird. Seems I always end up in Exeter. It's called fate, kid. Look it up. If you're me from another dimension, then what are you doing here? This is a part of the timeline where you're looking for something to do this summer. And unless you figure out what to do, Gabe, something terrible is going to happen. What's going to happen? No time. Here's everything that's coming to Exeter's Parks and Rec this summer that's going to make everything better. May is Water Safety Month, and Exeter's Parks and Recs likes to make sure that the town of Exeter stays safe and secure. Starting back on May 23rd, the kayaks will be returning, and Parks and Rec will be providing safety equipment such as life vests and instructions to make sure you're okay. Of course, if rivers aren't your thing, the Dan Healy Memorial Pool will be opening just around the corner. June 7th is its official opening day, so you can come on by, enjoy some treats, and swim very safely in the pool while you're protected by lifeguards. Of course, if water isn't quite your thing, there's also Planet Playground will be opening its airlocks just around the corner. Which reminds me, the Buy a Brick program is still open, so if you're looking to contribute and help keep the park safe and healthy, you can visit the town website. So check it out. Don't forget the tennis courts, pickleball, tennis, and all kinds of games happening all summer long. Also, concerts are coming back, so make sure to check the Parks and Rec. Wait a minute. Oh, hey Gabe. Were you paying attention at all? No. I told you something bad's going to happen if you don't cure your boredom. Oh yeah, I forgot. So what are you gonna do then? Touch grass. Right.
Earlier this month, Bill Ball Stadium hosted senior night for the outgoing Blue Hawk lacrosse team. We went down to catch the action.
We want to welcome you to William Ball Stadium for tonight's lacrosse contest between the Dover Green Wave and the Exeter Blue Hawks. It's a special night because it's senior night, where we acknowledge the senior members of the Blue Hawk team and their families. All right, let's get things underway. Blue Hawk goal number 12, number 11, Marshall Lazarus. Blue Hawk goal, number 17, John McMahon. Blue Hawk goal number 15, Jackson Green. 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 Our final score, the Exeter Blue Hawks 16, Dover Green Waves 6.
The First Unitarian Universalist Society of Exeter, or FUSE, is launching a mini forest project next to their church on Elm Street. We met up with members of FUSE to learn more about this project. Climate change and deforestation can feel like overwhelming issues, and it's hard to know where to even begin to help. The congregation at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Exeter are taking actions into their own hands and fighting these issues head-on by planting a mini forest right here in downtown Exeter. Construction efforts for the forest are beginning to take place, so we stopped by to see it firsthand.
Hannah Lewis wrote a book, Mini Forest Revolution, that's inspired by Akira Miyawaki, who's a Japanese ecologist, I guess, who has made these mini forests as small as 2 car spaces all over the world. And when they come up, they're able to provide habitat for wildlife and obviously sequester carbon from the air and grow up to be very big trees in a fairly short period of time, surprisingly.
The excitement for this project has led many members of the congregation to step up and get their hands dirty, building the forest themselves.
People are jumping in and helping to be able to see that it comes to fruition. So from that standpoint, it's been very satisfying to have so many people involved.
Through outside fundraising, the church is building the space for all people of Exeter to use and enjoy.
This will clearly provide for the general community a quiet corner. Sometimes you just need a little isolation, and being among these trees as they develop over the next 20 years will provide a place of solace for people.
Well, as I say, it's for your grandchildren, really.
Right.
So.
If you're interested in learning more about this project, you can head over to the church's website at exeteruu.org. Up next, Detective Bruce Page has all the info you need to know about this weekend's bike rodeo.
Hi everybody, I'm Detective Page from the Exeter Police Department. We want to invite everybody out for our annual bike rodeo, which is going to be held on May 24th this year from 9 to 11 behind the Lincoln Street School. We've got some awesome bikes that are going to be raffled off this year, courtesy of the Service Credit Union. They purchased these from Philbrook Sport in Dover. Exeter Hospital is going to be there. We're going to be checking helmets. We've got a ton of helmets to give away to the kids. We've got some small sizes, and Exeter Fire Department is a huge helper at this. They'll be checking your bikes to make sure they're roadworthy. We're going to have all kinds of teeter-totters and ramps and cool stuff for the kids going. And we're going to, most importantly, we're going to teach bike safety to the kids that day. So hope to see everybody May 24th, 9 to 11 behind the Lincoln Street School.
Since 1868, Memorial Day has long honored the history and sacrifice of those who keep our country safe. In the beginning, being used to commemorate Civil War soldiers, Memorial Day has transcended beyond America's original largest internal conflict, and now honors those who fought and died for our country in whatever ways it comes. Exeter will continue this long-standing tradition this Monday on the 26th. The town of Exeter will put on its Memorial Day Parade. Kicking off, the event will begin in Swayze Parkway, where the initial ceremony will start. From there, the parade will make its way up Water Street, turning onto Front Street past the bandstand, making their way to Gale Park where the first stop begins. From there, we continue to Winter Street Cemetery to end off the entire ceremony honoring those who passed right by our side. Exeter has kept this long-standing tradition for years now and is not looking to end it anytime soon. Whether it's personal to you or to the United States, the town of Exeter encourages and welcomes you to take part in this important event.
And for our last segment, the survey results are in for what the public wants to see at the newly acquired downtown lot and soon-to-be Pearpoint Park. The Stakeholders Committee met earlier this month to discuss their findings and next steps. We have a quick summary from our Meeting Minute series. This is your Meeting Minute for the May 15th Pearpoint Park Stakeholders Advisory Committee meeting. This committee has been hard at work determining the future of the property located at 23 Water Street, turning the abandoned lot into a park for all Exeter residents to enjoy. The committee put together 3 design concepts for the park. Over the past few weeks, they have been surveying the public to help determine people's favorite design.
It may be frustrating to some, designing by committee. However, I think it is also rewarding, and that we not only can include our own thoughts, but we were given the opportunity and the direction from the town to get the town's thoughts. And in both cases, in both surveys, we got outstanding responses.
Over 15 days, 570 people voiced their opinion. Using a weighted average, the Shady Bosque was the clear winner, gaining the majority vote. With the survey results in mind, on June 30th, the committee will present all 3 design concepts to the Select Board, with the Shady Bosque as their preferred design.
On June 30th, we're presenting 3 options with 3 order of magnitude budgets and 1 preferred design vote and the theme votes. That's it. We're not going any further than that on June 30th. Nobody's allocating money, nobody's hiring anybody, no RFQs are going out, nothing.
The design is a concept yet to be nailed down. It is not a
You're right.
finished construction document. It is a concept.
The next Pearpoint Park Stakeholder Advisory Committee meeting will take place on June 26th. See you there. That does it for this week's report. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to help spread the word. Head over to the town website and subscribe to the town email newsletter to get this show and other local news sent straight to your inbox. We'll be back on June 6th with the next edition of the show. For Exeter TV, I'm Dan Monchek, and this has been the Exeter Biweekly Report. Have a great weekend, Exeter. Downtown lot and soon-to-be Pearpoint Park Stakeholders Advisory Committee met earlier this month to discuss the findings and the next steps. We have a summary right here, the quick meeting series.
Let's just wait.
Yeah.
Goodbye. For this week's report.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well. Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well. Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well. Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Good evening once again. Welcome to the June 2nd, 2025 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. The board called the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We went into non-public, and then at 6:50 we conducted a board interview. And as the hour is now 7 o'clock, we're ready to start our regular business meeting. I will start by introducing the board. Unfortunately, this evening, our vice chair, Molly Cowan, is unavailable due to a conflict, so we do have a quorum with the four of us. To my right, Selectman Dan Chartrand, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
To my left, our clerk, Selectwoman Nancy Belanger, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Selectwoman Julie Gilman, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone.
We have our town manager, Mr. Rustine, good evening.
Good evening.
Our assistant town manager, Melissa Roy, good evening.
Good evening.
Recording secretary, Joanna Bartel, good evening. And my name is Nico Papakostendis. Good evening to all of you. Good evening to those watching from home. Our first order of business this evening is a bid opening for the Swayze Parkway Resilience. We have 3 bids. And I will walk through this carefully so we get that, okay? Okay, the first bid is from the Horsley Witten Group. That's HORSLEY Group from Exeter, New Hampshire. And the bid is for the Swayze Parkway Climate Resilience. And the total bid, there's 2, okay?
Thank you.
There's a total with optional task 4.1 is $31,450.
Can you repeat that?
$31,450. And then the total without optional task 4.1 is $21,250.
Thank you.
Okay, the second bid, I'm going to spell it, is GEOSYNTER TEC Consultants. And they're from South Hamilton, Massachusetts. And the total bid is $18,000.
Okay. The opener is not working.
No.
I think this is it. Okay. I'll bring the one I bought in.
Does it cost extra to sharpen it?
The one I got is sharper, so I'll bring it in.
Okay, and this one is from CMA Engineers, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Mr. Dean, are these bids going to Public Works or Kristen Murphy?
Actually, we'll have both review them.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. The total bid from CMA Engineers is $22,500.
Okay. Oh my God, I'll package them back up.
Pass those to Mr. Dean.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm just going to put them back.
Madam Clerk, I would entertain a motion to refer the three bids to Public Works Director Steve Cronin and the Conservation and Sustainability Coordinator Kristen Murphy to review and come back to the Select Board with a recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Next order of business is public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to come forward with any comments for the board. We do ask if your comments are relative to a agenda item, you wait till that agenda item comes up, and I'll pause to see if there's any public comment. Step right up, Mr. Whitehouse.
How are you? Keith Whitehouse, 61 West Side Drive. I was just curious if we had a start date for the project on West Side Drive.
Mr. Dean?
There'll be a bid opening on June 16th for that.
So when would you anticipate we would see some equipment?
Probably in early July, I would think, after a recommendation for award is made.
The Public Works Director is nodding his head in agreement.
Okay. I was just curious if any of you had driven there in your car.
West Side Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have?
I have.
What'd you think?
We're ready to work.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
It's been a long-
It's getting rough over there.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, you need like a mouthpiece at this point. Save your teeth, you know.
Yeah, it's been a while. I drove it a few times, but it's been a while since I've been in the neighborhood, so.
No,
I appreciate it.
It's ready. And Mr. Cronin, maybe we can bring you in July to give the board an update once we're ready to start. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehouse. Any other public comment? Okay, we'll move to, we have two sets of minutes to review this evening. Selectman Chartrand, the first of which was the regular meeting of May 12th. You wanted some time to review the minutes?
I reviewed that meeting, and the minutes conformed with the meeting. I should have known, but thank you, Joanna, for your patience with me.
Okay. Any other amendments, revisions, or are we good?
I just have one. It's on, so we're on the May 12th, right? May
Yes.
12th, 2025. It's page 6 of those meeting minutes. And it's in section D, Select Board Committee Reports, number 2, about 3/4 of the way down. It starts with, it's right after the YouTube, but not Channel 22. Allowing disabled kids to attend recreation camp. Should allow disabled kids to attend. And what I meant to say, if I didn't say it clearly enough, was one of the suggestions was to allow a one-on-one person or some other way to, so a disabled child could attend camp, the rec camp.
Thanks. Joanna, did you get that? Okay. Any other revisions or amendments? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting, Select Board meeting minutes of May 12th, 2025.
So moved.
As amended.
As amended, thank
As
you.
amended. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And we also had the meeting minutes of May 19th, 2025. Any amendments or revisions there?
I had none.
Okay. Mr. Chartrand, any?
No.
Okay. I would entertain a motion then to approve the Town of Exeter Select Board regular meeting minutes of May 19th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And we have a resignation this evening to consider. Dave Short is resigning from the Pearpoint Park Committee. And I just want to thank Dave for the work that he did before the committee started, his help with the Select Board in forming the committee, and he did a great job as the secretary taking the minutes. And I hope, and I talked with him, I hope that he will come back to the committee once they're ready to start moving forward with this. But at this point, you know, he's on the Swayze Park trustees, he chairs the Concom, and he felt that he'd reached where he could go with this, and but I think he'll be back soon. We'll welcome him back
His work
gladly.
was
So
appreciated.
I would then entertain a motion to accept the resignation from Dave Short from the Pearpoint Park Committee.
So moved with thanks.
Second.
It's a motion and a second in discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And thanks again, Dave, for your work. Before we jump into the discussion items, I wanted to recognize a few people. The ribbon cutting for the solar array at the transfer station was last Friday. And this is a project that is incredibly exciting for the town, and once again puts Exeter on the forefront of energy efficient sustainability initiatives. And a lot of people were instrumental in making this happen. And it started with our town planner, Dave Sharples, Kristen Murphy, who's our conservation and sustainability coordinator, obviously Public Works, all the folks at Public Works, our attendant Steve down there who holds the fort. Many, many thanks to him. But also the various volunteer committees that helped push this through. And you've heard me say this again and again, that we could not function as a town without our volunteers. The Energy Committee worked very hard on this, the Sustainability Advisory Committee, the Budget Recommendations Committee, and last but not least, you, the legislative body that showed up not once but twice to vote for funds to move forward with this. And we're just very appreciative of all those that helped move this forward. It's a big deal, and I want to thank Senator Altschuler, who was there for the ribbon cutting, as well as representatives from Senator Shaheen's office, Senator Hassan's office, and Representative Pappas's office, respectively. All showed up and read letters in support. So just very exciting, and I wanted to recognize those folks.
It was a good day.
It was a good day. So thank you.
I liked what Amy Farnham said on social media. My town getting stuff done. Couldn't agree more, Amy. And she was the chair of the Energy Committee, so she knows what she's talking about.
She does indeed. Thank you. Okay, we'll jump into our discussion items. The first discussion item came about because we had a citizen come to the Select Board meeting on May 19th with a question about the Park Street Bridge and the status of it. And even though public comment is not a time to deliberate and have a conversation back and forth, my philosophy has always been if we can clear something up for somebody, then it's okay to do that if somebody asks a question that can be answered. After the meeting, it was brought to my attention that perhaps we could have answered the question a lot better than we did. And Sally, you were the person that came with the question, and I told you 2 weeks ago that we would have the Public Works Director come at a future date. When I said that, I didn't realize it was going to be at our next meeting, but after learning what I learned after our meeting, I thought it was vital to not only have him come here to have a discussion this evening with folks here and folks watching at home, but I wanted this to be first on the agenda. We take our role very seriously in being transparent and making sure that folks know what's happening in town. And I want to thank you for taking a phone call from me last week, at which time I apologize to you for you not walking away with the information that you should have. And I'm glad you're here tonight and I can look you in the eye. And again, I apologize that we didn't get it right. And hopefully tonight we get it right. And you're going to see that there's still a lot of moving parts, that nothing is happening, with any immediacy. But Director Cronin's going to walk through. There's a memo in our packet that I asked him to write. He wrote it very well, giving the history. There's some supporting documentation. So, again, my sincerest apologies to you, your neighborhood, and the citizens here in Exeter. And I'll turn it over to you, Director Cronin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, this is a complex issue. So in the interest of trying to prevent confusion, I'd like to look at the closure and the questions around removal as two separate things. First off, the closure, back in early February, Public Works discovered that there was a significant hole in the wooden bridge deck, so we immediately reached out to New Hampshire DOT, assuming that they were the owner of the bridge, asked them to assess it and get back to the town on a schedule for repair. So they assessed it, determined essentially that there was more to it than just a superficial repair, and they were going to have to do some further investigation of the bridge. So at that point, they issued a formal notice to the town, basically closing the bridge indefinitely. We got that information to the board and the public as soon as possible. And since then, they've been conducting some additional engineering assessments to look at whether rehabilitation of the bridge is possible or they need to proceed with removal. So at this point, we have no timeline for the reopening of the bridge or if they plan to pursue rehabilitation or removal. Last week, myself and the town manager met with an official from DOT to request additional information and clarity. We asked them specifically whether the bridge could be open to pedestrian traffic in the meantime while they decide how they're going to proceed, when a decision would be made about the bridge's future, and what steps the town would need to take if DOT to pursue rehabilitation, removal, or replacement. The DOT official at the time wasn't able to give us answers to all those, but did commit to trying to get answers and that they would meet again with us on June 11th. So we have a meeting scheduled with DOT, myself, the town planner, the assistant town manager, and the town manager to try to get some of those answers. And we'll bring that information to the board when we have it. As far as the question of removal goes, it's kind of a long history here, but back in August of '24, CSX first reached out to the Public Works Department, telling us that they had a bridge project that included removal of the bridge and requesting the town to remove its water main. We had a lot of concerns. First off, we didn't think they owned the bridge. We thought that the state was the owner of the bridge. We had no funding for water main removal. We had a million questions about traffic impacts, pedestrian access, impacts to abutting properties, public safety, public process, all of it. So we immediately engaged with New Hampshire DOT and Town Council to try to get some answers on the ownership question and the town's rights with respect to the water main and to the right-of-way. At that point, Town Council told us that any question around removal was going to hinge on discontinuance of the roadway, which was going to require a town meeting vote and ultimately would have to come back to the select board and to the voters. CSX continued to press us. We met with DOT and CSX. CSX indicated that their primary reason for removing the bridge was to accommodate double-stack trains at some point in the future. There are other bridges along the rail line, I believe, that impact that, not just Exeter, but needless to say, they had funding in place and wanted to move as quickly as possible. We told them at the time that this was a decision that obviously needed to go through the select board and through the state, and that they should really come to the select board as soon as possible to make their intentions known. At that point, it kind of died on the vine. We didn't hear anything else. They wanted to continue to do some investigation with New Hampshire DOT to talk about, what process would have to happen at the state level for them to go through removal before coming to the town. Then we had the bridge closure in February. And so, again, no contact with CSX at that point. Hadn't heard much from the state until we met with them last week, when the state basically said that they've told CSX at this point that, in their opinion, the state is the owner of the bridge, and that they would be proceeding with any plans from here on out. So that's more or less where it ended as far as removal goes, and now we're waiting to hear from the state what they plan to do. So I think that's pretty much sums up all the information we have at this point. Our concern, again, all along has been, what kind of impact is this going to have on the town of Exeter, whether it's rehabilitation or removal? So we want the public's input. We want public safety's input as well. We have concerns from a public works standpoint about the water system and fire flows and redundancy and all that. So I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered before it's even considered.
And discontinuance of the road would take a vote at town meeting in March. Is the state and CSX aware that that would be the next step if that were the route they wanted to?
Yes, they are aware of it. We had put them in touch with the town manager's office to get on an agenda, but they never reached back out and requested to be on agenda to express their intent to get on a warrant at some point. So, as far as closure goes, it would only be a section of that road over the bridge. There's other questions regarding the right-of-way, the right to cross, existing deeds that all need to be researched before we can answer any sort of questions on whether they even have the ability to do that.
And have they expressed any interest in rehabilitating?
CSX has not.
The state?
The state, it seems like their preference, only from a financial standpoint, would be removal, but we're open to the possibility of rehabilitation. There are some stipulations in the MOU that was signed with the town back in 2001 about the funding mechanisms and what the town's financial obligations would be if we were to pursue that. So again, a lot of moving parts there that we don't have all the answers to, and I think we need to look at it at a much higher level before we can answer that.
Thank you. Mr. Chartrand?
I have a water and sewer question. That's not our only main that flows over or under the railroad tracks, correct?
Correct. There were some upgrades done to Summer Street as part of the Salem Street project that provide additional redundancy. There were fire flow limitations out there up until this summer when the water main was replaced on Summer Street, which was a condition of the approval for the Rose Farm project. So it's not as much of a concern as it was before. There are other projects like the Water Street project that's planned in a few years. It's going to increase fire flows even more in that area. So at that point, I think, from a water system standpoint, we have very little concern about it. We're more concerned about how they're going to terminate the water system, where fire hydrants would end up at the end of the project, how they would terminate the road.
Could that water main go under the railroad?
I think with the grades, it would be very challenging to put it underneath.
Okay.
It would be a substantial directional drill. We'd have to go back, several hundred, if not thousands feet.
Like a minor siphon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having PTSD already. So there are mains that flow under the railroad tracks, I assume, on Main Street, on Front Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it can be done, but that's a particularly challenging place.
Correct.
And that's why it's underneath the bridge that the state owns.
Substantially in that area to cross the railroad. So the other crossings are at-grade crossings. It's easy, we're 4 or 5 feet below the rail line, so it's pretty simple.
And I'm assuming CSX is not interested in having another road crossing right there.
We would need their permission, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board before I open it up to the public?
I'm okay for now.
Okay. We'll take questions or comments from the public if you want to step up to the microphone. Either one.
Sally Ward, 72 Park Street. I appreciate your being here and giving us the information that you have. And I just want to reiterate what I said at an earlier meeting, which is, well, number one, I understand that the railroad track is CSX's. They are responsible for that. The state is responsible for the bridge. But it is our town and our neighborhood, and I think it's critical that we have an opportunity to have an input. I can tell you now what my input would be, but maybe that's not the time to do that. But well, I'll just say that I can't even imagine what it would look like if they took the bridge out. I think it would be just not good for the neighborhood, not good for the town. But that's for a topic for a different time. So I'm appreciative that it's coming before the board, and I just want to make sure that there will be vehicles for us, the town, to have an input.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think Steve referenced that, anything major that would happen, you're right. I mean, CSX owns what they own, the state owns, this is our town. We would have public hearings, we would have public meetings, particularly if something's going to go on the warrant. I mean, it's going to be open, it's going to be transparent. We need to hear from you. We want to hear from you, we need to hear from you. Our next steps as a board, Mr. Dean, in our weekly meetings, I'd like to have updates on this, and when it's appropriate to do so, we will keep putting it on the agenda as there are updates or anything to report. You can always reach out to us too if you haven't heard, but this moving forward, we will be transparent with the public, and when it's appropriate to do so, we'll have public hearings and meetings because we do need to hear from the community.
Great.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Please step up and just give us your name and address for the record.
Michelle Crapo for Lexington Ave. I've just noticed in the Exeter community page that a lot of people are complaining about the additional traffic on Walnut Street, Oak Street. And I just wondered if the state could pull in a traffic count to see if they've done one in the past and bring in a current one while you're talking to them. I don't know if that's possible.
We'll ask that.
We can ask that.
Okay, thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jessica Lepler, and I live at 27 Park Street. So it's been really nice and quiet on my side of Park Street since the bridge is closed, which is lovely for my son who rides his bike. But I'm a little concerned about fire and police and their ability to access the other side of town when a freighter comes through. So I just wanted to bring that issue to the attention so that we weren't just thinking about water mains and sewers. Also, there's like no way to cross the town without going back out to the highway. So I have mixed feelings about the bridge being out, but I do want to make sure that our town is safe, and I think that's an important issue.
Agreed. Thank you.
Sure.
And that would all play in, not just water, sewer, it would be public safety, it would be traffic flow, all of that would be discussed and studied. Please.
Hi, I'm Jackie Raquel. I'm at 31 Park Street, and I am thrilled to have the bridge closed, actually, at least for this temporary calm, nobody racing over it at a million miles an hour in the middle of the night or during the day. However, I would like to talk about what taking the bridge out means. So there's taking the bridge out and regrading it. If you go by the houses there, you can see that it's been built up. That's not its normal, the normal height of the land there. So is taking it out, meaning regrading that and making it a crossing? Or is taking it out, making it a god-awful, cliff on both sides that you can leap off of onto the track, which would be horrible. So
I don't have an answer. We had all the same questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
just ask them that question because it makes
There
a
are some
lot of
steep
difference.
grades on both sides. There
Yep.
are driveways. You know, we had questions about how the grading would be addressed. Again, how they would end the road, if it would be barricades, if it would be a cul-de-sac, what that would look like. So it's, I just don't have answers for you, unfortunately.
Okay, we don't want to make it any more dangerous than it already is. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to it was refreshing when I met with Steve about a week and a half ago, and I just want to express that all of the town have the same questions and concerns that you do, and they're all, we will explore all of the questions and hopefully get the answers and do what's best for the town. Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the board or comments?
No, your comment is excellent, Jackie, about obviously there would have to be some kind of reconfiguration because we're not going to leave a gap between, two ramps. That would not be safe. So.
Thank you.
Selectwoman Belanger.
No.
Gina Leahy, 80 Park Street. We'll hear from Park Street tonight. It just seemed, I'm probably repeating what everyone else has said, but it seems to me just a few years ago when we were talking about the address and street changes, I just recall very often hearing that was vital for safety, for an emergency vehicle to be able to get over that railroad bridge. And I know we're building a new one on that side of town, but I just can't imagine not having access in case of an emergency. And that was very much talked about just a few years ago when we were talking about the street name changes and address changes. So,
Thank you.
Great point.
Selectwoman Belanger.
So the railroad company is saying they want to do this primarily so that they can do a double-decker railroad car?
Correct.
So if we could find out what the weight difference is from 1 to 2, people abutting the railroad tracks are going to have an interesting, the heavier the car, the more your building shakes. So I think it might, yeah, shake, rattle, and roll is, no, you're right. Yeah, so anyway, if we could just have that so we could factor that in conversations in the future, that would be great. Can you hand her the mic? Oh, she's coming over. It's okay.
I just wanted to say that the weight change may impact the bridge that's over 85, the rickety.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You look like you know.
No, I'm just, I'm remembering my childhood when that bridge was closed to two-way traffic. It was open to one-way traffic that way, and then it was open to one-way traffic this way. So we've tried the different traffic patterns.
There used to be a sidewalk thing.
Yeah,
to
there
it,
was
too.
a pedestrian part of the
I grew up in that neighborhood when I was young.
so
I have memories. Anyway. Yeah.
Just trying to picture different solutions.
I've had a few.
So if there are no other questions or comments, Mr. Dean, we're going to continue. This will be a discussion item for us on a weekly basis, and then we will be bringing it back at select board meetings when it's appropriate and public meetings when that's appropriate. And we'll keep our communication open. I forget who made the comment. I don't read the Facebook social media thing, so I don't know what was on there. But when we come here, we try to have all the facts for you. So
spread the word. Bring your friends. Not just. Oh, when we anticipate, we add. But yeah, it's important that people, even along the tracks, come and have this conversation with us if they're concerned about shake, rattle, and roll. or anything, so. yeah.
And Sally and I know how to find each other too, so.
Good.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cronin. I'm going to ask you to stay there, though, for the next discussion item. We have our third reading of the no parking order. There's 3 different streets.
Okay. They're all on one. Is that?
Yeah, I just need to find my paperwork.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. At this time, I'm going to open the third and last public reading, the Exeter Town Ordinances Amendment, Chapter 1, Parking Regulations. And this is to add potentially 3 roads to the no parking regulation. It's 101.2, parking prohibited on specific streets. The first is Swayze Parkway, which has already been closed. Pickpocket Road, which has already been closed. And there's discussion on potentially Drinkwater Road. So I will first ask both Director Cronin and thank you, Chief Poulin, for being here this evening. If there's anything additional that you'd like to add that hasn't already been mentioned in the first 2 readings, and then I would like to open it up to the public for questions and comments. And when the public is done, we'll bring it back to the board and deliberate over the 3 different streets. So, Mr. Cronin?
Just that we've heard some of the comments from Conservation Commission and some of the other various interested parties regarding potential parking at some of the conservation areas, the speed concerns, the current condition of the road. We do intend to pave that road, Drinkwater Road specifically, this summer. We're currently working with our paving contractor, Bell and Flynn, to finalize those plans, but as you can see from the condition of the road, there's some substantial work that needs to be done. There's some rutting that needs to be addressed. We're looking at a fairly thick structural overlay out there. It's a rehabilitation of the existing road. We're not planning to widen that road surface in any way. We're not looking at regrading the shoulders or widening the right-of-way or taking property, anything like that. We have evaluated the potential for maybe narrowing lane width out there. So we have taken some measurements. I will say that there are varying widths out there right now, so there may be some opportunities to come up with a more consistent travel lane width through there, but it's not going to gain you significantly more shoulder on Drinkwater Road. We did look at the potential for 2 parallel parking spaces at the conservation property, Smith Page. We think there may be an opportunity with some grading and some processed gravel to establish 2 spaces out there, but obviously want to get the impact from both the commission and the board on that before we do anything. I think we certainly need some time on our end to look at other options to help control speeds out there, if that's what you'd like us to do. We could engage our traffic consultants, see if there's anything outside the box that we haven't thought of at this point, but we're open to the comments for the public, and we'll certainly implement whatever wishes the board has.
Okay, thank you. Chief, I don't know if you had anything to add or if you're just here for questions.
We're going to take a neutral stance on whether we need an amendment or not.
Okay.
We will enforce whatever it is that the board and the legislative body decides. In the last 3 years, there's been 2 accidents on that road. Speed is an issue. That is one of our roads where speed is an issue. And we enforce it as much as we can out there, directed patrols. If it is decided that it should be posted, we would agree with the memo from Director Cronin that do the whole road or don't do any of it. If the people feel that there's an issue out there with parking, by only doing a small portion in front of someone's home, it's just going to move the problem over. It's not going to go away.
Okay.
So we're not for it. We're not against it. We'll enforce what you choose.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question for the chief.
Go ahead.
What would it cost or take to put, I don't know what they're called. We have one in front of St. Michael's that tells people how fast they're going. What are those?
They're not expensive. I think it's less than $1,000.
Okay. Is that something we could?
Yeah.
Something we
Like
could
a solar
consider?
panel on the telephone pole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Thank you. We'd like to open it up to the public. If you have any questions or comments regarding this, you could step up to the microphone and just state your name and address for the record. Keith, I just noticed you brought your own
I
chair.
just noticed too. I wasn't sure if I should comment. Oh, my. Smart
Keith
man.
Whitehouse, West Side Drive. Again, same as I stated last time, just want to make sure that we have access to Smith Page. And, to the chief's point, that's an excellent point. You don't want to just move the parking down in front of somebody else's place and cause a problem. I'd rather just focus on what we can do versus what we can do. I don't know that shutting down an entire road is a good solution, especially like Catherine Ganley had said last time, that's a very inviting area. That's an area people want to, it's like, hey, let's go check that out, So it's a wonderful area on both sides of the road. Just want to make sure there's public access to public lands.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
I don't want to scare you. It's just
That's okay. That's why we're here.
Michelle Crapo for Lexington Ave. I watched the video presentation from the, I think it was the May 12th meeting, and I understand people are parking alongside the road. But I want to point out there's similar situations all over town. I live near Brickyard Pond Playground, and people are parked on both sides of that street, just beyond the white line. And there's probably majority of the cars are offloading children. So we're in the similar situation there, in front of the Sea Dog, on Front Street, not particularly right by the bandstand, but as you get to Court Street, which has a high traffic count, there's, parallel parking all along there. So I just wanted to bring out all that information. Drinkwater has much less traffic than a lot of these streets I speak of. If you look at the traffic, I look at traffic counts, but if you look at the traffic counts, Drinkwater doesn't have near the traffic count that Water Street, Front Street, or any of these streets have. And we're cutting off, to me, a large piece of recreation land for this town if we don't allow parking on that street. I would propose parking on one side of the street. And I have gone down the street, and I can see where there's some places where you could have some turnouts on that street. There's some areas where it slopes off drastically where you can't, but I have parked along that street, and I drive a sedan. I don't have a, SUV. And I'd hate to see banning parking that would preclude us from, in the future, doing something else if we come up with a better solution. If we come up with a solution if we've already banned parking. So that's what thank you.
I appreciate those thoughts. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Walrazak, live at 20 Drinkwater Road.
Hey.
And I am very much against banning parking on the road. Right in front of my place, and actually right across the street, in the Matthews, I could probably get 6 cars there. The police stop there often to keep an eye on the traffic. The problem with that road isn't parking, it's the speed. And it's not even it's properly, it's 25 from, pretty much Prentice Street up the hill. And that's proper, it's properly, the speed limit is proper in that. And it's 30 beyond that. And I walk every day. And I walk there and I go down through the academy. And I see Mr. Chartrand there often with his little dog. And the problem is that, I mean, I've had cars go, now I don't have a speed gun or anything, but if there are cars that are going over 50 often, it's wouldn't surprise me. You can tell when a car's going 25 compared to you know, what I've been seeing on that road. Recently, I saw a lot of extra police activity. Just, I bet in the last few days, I saw personally witnessed at least 3 times when the police, you know, have stopped. And I think if there's some proper, you know, the speed sign or some things like that. I know that the big sign was hauled out there, and I actually, for about a week and a half, the battery died and it wasn't working. I actually called and said, hey, you know, so, and I feel that's the answer, is to, you know, a little bit more enforcement and just remind people to go the speed limit. There are a few places, like on top of the hill, where as you come from High Street, where there's a real pinch point there, and at times, you know, there'll be delivery trucks and things that are a little bit hairy. But beyond that, there are numerous places where you could legally park. And you rarely see someone from my house, but if we have a little get-together and have to put a car or two, you can get a car not just by the white line, but way off in those areas. And if you actually look at your plans, there's a turn on Drinkwater Road there, and sometime in the past, probably before my family bought the land, I bought the house. It was owned by George Carhart. My dad actually built the house for George Carhart, and there was a taking there. So the town actually owns a lot of that curve, and they keep it mowed and keep it down, so there's lots of room there to park.
Thank you very much for your thoughts.
Scott Matthews, 19A Drinkwater Road. I had my say a few weeks ago, so I'll be brief, but I echo Mike's sentiment. Very much opposed. I don't consider it even a problem. I think it's just, you have a road, people have to park, and there's a lot of reasons to park on Drinkwater. So I would hate to see it banned. I think it would limit a lot of the opportunity for people in town, and not just us who live on the road, but people who like to get in that area. I think it could also push people over to Gardner Street and other places that it could probably make the parking situation worse in those spots. So as someone who lives on the road, I'm happy to have people park in front of my house. So.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I'm Greg Bechtold at 16 Drinkwater Road. I just want to echo what my neighbors have also said, that I'm also opposed to this. We don't frequently park on the street, but it would be nice to have the option. And I agree with everything that both have said, both during this meeting as well as I reviewed the minutes from the first reading, and agree with the neighbors who spoke in opposition of this at that time as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Please.
Yeah, David Locke, 46 Drinkwater Road. Yeah, I guess I'm the only one really in favor of it. Going back about 3.5 years ago, it wasn't just me. My neighbors on either side of me, we all came to you, sat down with several town officials to talk about the danger of people parking there, and then it just kind of disappeared. So it wasn't just me that came to you guys. And so really now I'm just kind of the last man standing. But it really comes down, if you saw, you looked at the videos and the photographs and all that, and I understand there's a lot of people that want, to allow people parking there and all that. But it really is dangerous. So what you need to decide, it's not about, anything but public safety. And so, and we've just seen way too many close calls, and you need to decide whether or not you want to take that risk and, somebody may get, seriously injured or killed. And again, there are many other places for people to go. So, that's kind of where, that's really the truth of the matter. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your thoughts, as well as your presentation at the last meeting. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. I want to take each of these separately, but before we start moving here, I want to give the board another opportunity if they have any questions of either Director Cronin or Chief Poulin.
Can I lead off?
Please.
I appreciated both of your thoughts, and I do understand what you're saying, Chief Poulin. It either needs to be a complete ban or no ban at all, because you don't want to move things around and take the problem and move it somewhere else. So I heard that, and I also am very intrigued by what the Department of Public Works might be able to do, along with Bell and Flynn, to narrow those travel lanes for cars and create maybe a little more space with that narrowing. Not much, but a little bit, for folks that are bicycling and running or walking along that road. I've done a little bit of investigation over the last couple of weeks since our last reading on drink water. I walked Smith Page with Keith Whitehouse. Thank you for the tour, Keith. It's a gorgeous public land. And it has not really been publicized that it's open for hiking by our townspeople as well as others. Of course, there's the Academy Forest, which is open within the rules that the Academy has posted for use by the public. And Drinkwater Road itself is just a great corridor for bicyclists and runners. There's a loop that comes out of Exeter and goes through Kensington along North Road or Osgood Road, and then comes back along 150. It's a very active corridor for bicycling, running, and walking. And I'd like to see us hold up, I think, for now, on doing a parking ban on that road, to see what our department heads can put together out there to enhance the recreation and wildlife corridor. I didn't talk about the wildlife. There's a major wildlife crossing right at the head of Jude's Pond there that I know Steve Cronin, our Director of Public Works, has been talking to Kristen Murphy, our conservation person, about maybe punching up the awareness of the wildlife crossing that happens right at the head of Jude's Pond there. So I'd like to wait. My own personal opinion is we should wait for now on doing a parking ban on Drinkwater Road and see what our great staff, our departments and our department heads can come up with to enhance the recreation and wildlife corridor that is Drinkwater Road. It's also a roadway, and vehicles do have to pass through there. But I'm intrigued by the possibility of a couple of parking spots for the Smith Page, nearby Smith Page. So that's where I am right now. I'm not permanently against a parking ban, but I am in kind of go slow mode, and not right now. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's premature. I'm not going to repeat everything that Dan just said, but I agree with everything that Dan just said. I'll be interested to see what DPW comes up with. I would like to have you guys consider more of that flashing speed. The cost doesn't sound like a lot, but you'd have to, determine where the $1,000 would come from. Also, though, putting it up now or waiting until the road is repaved, I don't know. But can you guys come up, add that to your deliberations before you come back?
Yes.
Please, if that's all right with everyone else. But yeah, look, there was a comment made of, church on Sunday, you go down London Street, there are people parked legally, and it's tough to get by them. People need to slow down. But I would not want to block off access to that path or the work that needs to be done over at the conservation property. So I would be in favor of tabling that one out of the three.
Thank you. Selectwoman Gilman, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, yes, no. I agree with Mr. Chartrand and Ms. Belanger. I too feel like we've had a lot of input, and I've looked at the plans. I understand the shoulder problems. I've grown up on a road like that. Some places are great, and some places are gullies. So I think taking the opportunity to, since we're going to do the repaving of any kind of lane adjustment, whether it's even moving while you're narrowing the lanes, maybe moving it this way or that way, it might be helping effectuate the slowing down of people. And I had a question at the, is that a state route? No. Okay, so there's no urban compact sign or anything like that.
I noticed there were some signs about it being like a rural scenic.
Oh, a scenic route?
But
I believe it's scenic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's confusing. But, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I know Hampton Falls Road has the urban compact sign. That's where the speed limit changes. So I just wondered if we had the same thing on Drinkwater. It's been a while. So, traffic calming, that's where I go to. So speed signs.
Yeah, just do what we can to slow people down. I mean, we do have to have people slowing down. We're having the problem all over town. It's not just Drinkwater Road, but I do frequent Drinkwater Road, and yes, there are people that like to get right behind me, and I won't say what I say in my rearview mirror, but it is tough. It is tough, and you guys can't be out there all the time, but I do appreciate stepping up the patrols. That should slow some people down, but you can't be out there 24/7, and I recognize that, so.
We'll see if there's an opportunity to work with Bob Glowacki and EXTV to do more on the public outreach.
That's a great idea.
Public awareness, yes.
To see, from a speeding standpoint, or even just a pedestrian safety standpoint, not just on Drinkwater Road, but
right.
on town in general.
And maybe pitch it as, this is a wildlife
Yes.
and
Just gonna say, conservation.
recreation corridor, and you need to respect the other users of this road. It's not just for cars. It's for folks on bikes and walking. It's for those animals that are trying to cross.
Yeah. I'm sure Mr. Glackley would love that.
Without losing
Without a doubt.
life.
That's a great idea, Steve.
Yeah.
Anything else from the board?
Just that I appreciate both of you being here, and you're looking at possible solutions and making it a little bit safer and things. So it's been a good conversation. I do appreciate that.
Okay, we're going to take these separately. The first two are already closed. This is more procedural. So I'll start with, I would entertain a motion to add Swayze Parkway from the west side of the street from Newfields Road to the turnaround to the Town Ordinance 101.2, parking prohibited on specific streets.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. I would entertain a motion to add Pickpocket Road, the north side of the street, for a distance of 450 feet west of Kingston Road to the Exeter Town Ordinance 101.2, parking prohibited on specific streets.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I concur with my colleagues on the board. I would entertain a motion to pause adding Drinkwater Road to the Exeter Town Parking Ordinance 101.2, parking prohibited on specific streets until such time as Public Works and Public Safety can present a plan to the Select Board.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 4-0. Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for
you,
coming
everyone.
to all
Yeah,
the readings.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Director
Can I
Cronin.
go off script for just a moment?
Yep.
Because I think Mr. Whitehouse is leaving. Mr. Whitehouse, I just want to thank you for the work you did, and everyone that did the Memorial Day Parade, but I saw you out at Gale Park quite often, and all the work it looks wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I had a ton of help with that, thank Bill Semero and especially my wife.
Yeah.
Also, a lady named Louise came and helped us.
A lot of people, and I don't know everyone's name,
Yeah,
so I
Greg-
just, but
Greg
because
at
you're
the
here,
rec
I just,
Department, Scott Thomas, they did
Yeah.
a lot of work there.
and you really opened the park.
Don't leave, I have one more thing to say.
Only a few minutes before the back.
I was going to say, I hope you feel better too.
Stewart Park, you're doing gorgeous work, and Stewart Park as well. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Feel better.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. West Side's coming on strong.
Mr. Dean, presumably you're going to speak to the mosquito and tick program?
Actually, Madison Bailey, our health officer, could not be here tonight, so I would respectfully request we bypass that item.
All right.
She can be here.
Could we put that on the, well, is there anything that the public needs to know tonight?
Nothing additional from what's in the memo.
I don't think so. It was just an update to the program that we
Did
were
sampling
accepted
have
for.
happened?
Yeah.
So for the public, Exeter is one of the 5 communities selected in New Hampshire to conduct tick sampling. The sampling, which is also referred to as tick dragging, will occur between June 1st and July 4th. A total of 50 20-meter drags will be performed on various town properties that are open to the public, for instance, nature trails. Any ticks collected during those drags will be sent to the CDC labs for testing, and results will come in spring 2026. This is to determine if and what tick-borne illnesses the ticks carry could be passed on to humans or pets. The initiative is 100% supported by New Hampshire DHHS and only requires Madison Bailey, the health officer's time to complete the sampling. So we'll look forward to her coming back to update us on that.
Thank you.
And next
And,
year.
hopefully the CDC can get that done by 2026.
Yes.
That remains to be seen. We have a memo in our packet, and I know, Mr. Dean, you had tasked Pam McElroy to help you put this together. This makes sense. The board had reduced the number of Water and Sewer Advisory Committee members. We had to take that to town meeting, and which successfully passed in 2024 was Article 22. And just to refresh everyone's memory, we reduced the Water Sewer Advisory Committee from 7 to 5 members, and of the 5 members, it included 2 voting members of the Select Board. However, there were 4 resident members of the committee since 2022, so we have 1 too many. So the executive committee's come up with the idea of adding a alternate that 4th person could slip into. They have met with Bob Kelly, who is the Water Sewer Advisory Chair. He concurs with this, so procedurally, it's just the board to take this up. And I'd first ask if there are any questions, or Mr. Chartrand, you're one of the Select Board reps to the committee.
I was unaware that this was an issue, and that's how oblivious I am, so my apologies to everyone. I didn't catch it, but I'm in favor of this, as long as Mr. Mosher is comfortable.
If I'm reading this correctly, it says 2 select board members are voting members? Full, not an alternate and a.
So that we brought that to town meeting because we were having quorum issues.
Yeah.
So that's why we added the other Select Board members, so that we were going to ensure that we'd have a quorum.
Okay.
And it passed, I believe it passed overwhelmingly.
Yes,
in
it did.
2024, so.
2 doesn't consist of a quorum of this
Yeah.
board, obviously, so.
So the only question I have is, what would the term be for Mr. Mosher, and would we just take care of that tonight at the same time, if we're going to make him an alternate?
Yeah, it would be through April of 2026.
Thank you.
Okay. Good question.
And all of this has been vetted with Mr. Mosher, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Kelly, yep.
Great.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion. Wait a minute. Take that back. Can we add an alternate position, Mr. Dean, without going to town meeting?
I would suggest that you could do that. I think that's within the board's purview.
I'm asking the question because when we reduced it from 7 to 5, we had to go to town meeting.
Yeah.
Now we're actually adding somebody, so
Agreed,
I think we
yeah.
have to go to town meeting.
Can we double check that and maybe
Let's.
add this on the next?
Yeah,
I will
that's,
follow up on that.
all right, then we're going to table this.
Okay.
And maybe I'm missing something legally, but I don't
No,
know how
better
we have
be
to go to
safe.
town meeting to reduce, but we don't to add.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if it's an alternate, I mean, that's,
It's a good question, Mr. Chair.
okay. Perfect. Our last discussion item is the 2025 bond document execution. And Mr. Dean, I believe the clerk needs to read this into the record.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I have to read, I just want to make sure, this
don't
whole
believe-
thing.
I believe.
Not the
when
loan agreement, but the resolution.
When I looked back 2 years ago, we didn't read it.
I remember Julie reading it.
No, what did I read?
So it would just be this part, this
Yeah.
last page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just bear with me, people, when time comes.
If you don't mind, why don't we read it just to,
Yes, just that one page,
Just the-
though,
the
right?
resolution.
Thank goodness. Okay.
Mr. Stevens, just to
Make
excuse me,
sure.
I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
no, you're fine. I
She
appreciate
starts with resolved. Correct?
Yes.
Because it says, "I, the undersigned clerk." Is that me that we're referring to, or some other clerk?
That's the town clerk.
Okay.
So you're just reading it.
I would just,
I didn't think you needed to read this, but I guess it
Okay.
it can't hurt, right?
That's what we've done in the past.
We have read it in the past, yeah. So,
I can tweak the first part, just to say whatever.
think you
Or do
just
you want me to say resolved?
yeah, you just read the
Fine.
resolved part. and-
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Can I,
Go ahead.
it just says, I further certified that there are no vacancies on the board, which there are, and that all members were duly notified to place time. Does it matter that Molly's not here? It doesn't matter, right?
We have a quorum, yeah.
So it shouldn't
And
be.
she was notified that
Right, yeah,
this
just
was
double
happening.
checking, yeah.
Because she got
I
her
just thought I had to read the whole.
Yeah,
It
right,
just
right.
seems,
I think just the
Okay.
resolved part.
if everyone's fine with just the resolved part, I'll read just the resolved.
Yeah.
Okay. So, resolved that under and pursuant to the Municipal Finance Act, Chapter 33, NHRSA, as amended, the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank Law, Chapter 35-A, New Hampshire RSA, as amended, and other laws in addition thereto, and to votes of the issuer duly adopted on March 12, 2024, under Article 4, and on March 11, 2025, under Article 5 and 6 of the warrants for such annual meetings of the issuer, there be and hereby is authorized the issuance of a $19,355,400 bond of the issuer, the bonds, which is being issued to the insurer for the purpose of, 1, current refunding of issuer's $3,500,000 bond, anticipated note dated August 15th, 2025, and maturing on August 15th, 2025, which note was issued to finance the cost of a new public safety building to hold the Exeter Police Department, and to provide a satellite fire substation and financing additional new money costs of such project, $17,522,500. 2, financing repairs to the Lennon Street Bridge, including the reinforcement of bridge abutments and wing walls, replacing substandard bridge rails, and pavement repairs, $1,257,900. And 3, financing the replacement of the fuel island station at the Public Works Facility, DPW complex, including replacing aging equipment and the relocation of the island to accommodate better traffic flow, $575,000. The bond shall be dated as of the date of issuance, shall be in such numbers and denominations as the purchaser shall request, shall mature in accordance with the schedule set forth in Exhibit A, to the loan agreement hereinafter described the loan agreement shall bear a net interest cost rate as defined in the loan agreement of 5.25% per annum as such, or such lesser amounts may be determined by a majority of the board. The bond shall be substantially in the form set as forth as Exhibit B to the loan agreement, and otherwise shall be issued in such manner and form as the signatories shall approve by their execution thereof. Resolved. The bond shall be sold to the bond bank at the par value thereof, plus any applicable premium. Resolved, that in order to evidence the sale of the bonds, the treasurer of issuer and members of the bonds are authorized and directed to execute, attest, and deliver in the name of, on behalf of the insurer, a loan agreement in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, which loan agreement is hereby approved, with such changes therein not inconsistent with this vote, and approved by the officers executing the same on behalf of the issuer. The approval of such changes by said officers shall be conclusively evidenced by the execution of the loan agreement by such officers. Resolved, that all things heretofore done, all action heretofore taken by the issuer of its officers and agents in its authorization of the projects to be financed by the bonds are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. Resolved, that the clerk and the signers of the bonds are each hereby authorized to take any and all action necessary and convenient to carry out the provisions of this vote, including delivering the bonds against payment thereof. Therefore, resolved that the useful lives of the projects being financed are in excess of 5, 10, and 20 years. I further certify that this meeting was open to the public. I guess I could stop there, right? Okay. Forget the I further certify.
Mr. Stevens, is there any other action the board takes, or the clerk just signs this, correct?
You need a motion to adopt the resolutions.
Oh.
I made a motion in my memo, so you want to vote on that. And then there are 4 originals of the loan agreement that if you could, Mr. Chair, sign at some point this evening, that would be appreciated.
There are no questions. I'd entertain a motion to adopt the resolution set forth in the authorization of bonds and approval of loan agreement with the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're going to jump into regular business now, and in addition to wanting to give you a little break, more importantly, I'm cognizant of folks' time. We have 3 people here that need permits or in approvals. There's exemption also to be heard. So if the board will indulge me, I'd like to skip over for now the list. We have to be here, but let's maybe take these up one at a time and let these folks go home. And I also know that we need to take up the appointment this evening of the individual that we interviewed, so we'll take that up as well. So let's start with the continuation of the discussion on the application for a charitable exemption of the Hero Pups. Mr. Stevens?
Sure.
It's a memo in the packet.
Right, so we followed up with, in our last meeting, your last meeting, we had put out the amended articles as incorporation of Hero Pups to our lawyer to get a ruling on her opinion of purpose. She got back to us, and as the memo notes, the amended documents should satisfy state statute activities as they are laid out in her letter to you, that being the applicant, and your meeting of the 28th, probably meet a charitable purpose. Council advised that technically, if you were going to amend, you would have done it before April 1st of 2025 to have an exemption for this year. but she didn't see anybody challenging that, and you could feel comfortable, if you so choose, extending the charitable exemption for 2025 based on the amended documents.
And Mr. Stevens, what was the amount of the exemption again? Do you remember?
I don't, actually.
Okay.
I don't know that I ever really
Do you
looked
have those?
closely at that piece of it, to be honest. I know that Janet has said, our assessor, that she needs to now evaluate the property for the exempt portion versus the non-exempt
Yeah, I
portion. So
don't
that
think
is
we have it because everything was, the two other members didn't have the amount in there. Let me see, though.
Thought it did.
Well,
The value of the exemption was $4,400
Yeah.
in terms of taxes being exempted as a result of the exemption.
So the total amount of the exemption, if we so granted, is $4,400?
In terms of taxes, not
Okay.
in terms of value.
And Corey, did you just say that Janet needs to reevaluate? So I guess maybe
That is
that's
correct.
in what
Right.
Janet told us. If something needs to change, then we don't know, but.
okay,
that was
so that's what, we
were
don't
told
have the
initially.
number
To the
yet.
extent the property is exemptable charitably.
Right.
Yeah.
you would
Okay,
be-
so
but
can
the
we,
value, I think, is to be
can
determined.
we move tonight to either approve or deny the request for the exemption, and then as a matter of procedure, that would not require you coming back unless you wanted to, Janet would give us the amount, is that
Yes.
the course of action? All right, and the map and lot, it's map 18, lot 3,
Correct.
is that correct? Okay. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Stevens or the applicant, for that matter?
No, this is clear.
Okay. If there are no questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the application for a charitable exemption from map 18, lot 3 for the tax year 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a motion and a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Corey.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next we have a request for an outdoor dining permit fee waiver from Jamie Lopez. Thank you. And the annual outdoor dining permit fee is $200 per calendar year and may be prorated on a per-month basis. For the current year, 2025, Mr. Lopez is requesting a permit fee for June through October. The prorated fee would be $83.35 for 2025. There's the application is included in our packet. I don't know, Mr. Lopez, did you want to speak to this or any other additional information? Or
Good evening, everybody. Jamie Lopez from 6 Front Street, also known as the Inn by the Bandstand. Robin Davis is here with me as well, representing Ambrose Restaurant and the Inn. We are neighbors. It's the yellow building right next door from this beautiful building. We, in the fall, invested a great deal of money to introduce pavers at the front of the building between your building and our building, and also new asphalt, of which a portion of it belongs to the town. And so my request of you is to waive, if you may consider that, the fees, which are, in my mind, not big fees, but I think it's a matter of principle. It's what my ask is. If you would consider waiving the fees for having used the outdoor dining space where the pavers are. That's my basic premise and request from you.
any questions for Mr. Lopez?
I have several. So on your application, you have the months you want to do this. There's no start or end date. Just, are you looking to do this till October 31st?
We're looking to do. We would like to utilize the outdoor dining space for when the weather permits, and so that would be anywhere between, I would think, May through October.
Okay, well, the application says June to October, but I think we need an end date. So it'd be the 31st? Is that the end of October is the 31st, right? Okay. It's just a technicality, but we have to have specifics.
We would like to use the patio for as long as the weather allows us to. If that's October 15, if that's November the 2nd, we would like to have access to that, weather permitting. And so our anticipation living in New England is that come the end of October, that might be the end of the season.
So I think we'd have to have an updated application because you have a.
We can talk to, I apologize, we can talk to Pam.
Thank you.
And we can adjust and make sure that we. have
Perfect,
it.
okay. So, and then you don't have times that you want to have the dining?
Yes, I think I did give that information to Pam. It's Ambrose's hours. So it's. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes, please.
So it will be from 4 to 9.
Monday through, 7 days a week?
It'll be, yes. Yes.
Okay, so 4 to 9, okay. How would you?
Knowing that Ambrose seats the last patron at 9, which means that could run into whenever they're finished. But the operating hours close at 9.
Okay, so assistant manager's got that down, so we can put.
We can confirm, we can work.
Yep, got it.
That's not a
Yes.
problem, and we'll fix all that up.
Can I keep going? Just somebody else? Okay. How would you section this off? I'm concerned. So I'm assuming you're going to section it off so people can't walk through it, but I am concerned because we do have people that park out here at night because they're on our boards and committees, and they walk up to the building, I'm one of them, that to get to the front door sometimes. So I want to know exactly what access is going to be still there.
There is going to be access. In fact, the section that we're looking to utilize and section off, it's exclusively the pavers area.
Right. And I
not the strip
apologize.
of-
It's just not clear.
Yeah.
Right,
No, that's fine. That's why I thought I would make myself available this evening.
Yeah. So can you tell me how far away from our building that people would be able to walk along the side of the building?
It's like this whole sidewalk on.
Okay. So
on
that
the-
won't be blocked off.
No.
That is.
Anybody or even a couple can walk by.
Right.
And
yeah.
then take a sharp left
Yeah.
to come into the building. So access won't be restricted from those folks coming from the parking lot, which I see many use to come to the front of the building.
Right.
Yeah.
It won't be
So we have that
blocked
little
off.
access, right? That little sideway. But anyway, that's good. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Let me
Can I
just.
just pick that, just to put a finer point on that? Would you allow that?
Absolutely.
I'll wait, Nancy. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, you know what, I'm all set. Oh, parking concerns, can we do something to try to not encourage people to park in the employee parking, the signs? I'm just saying, if we can just maybe spread the word that there are signs and try to abide by no one parking and employee parking during the times it's restricted.
Oh, have you had, I wasn't aware that you have had
It's like,
issues in the past.
I'm not going to make a big deal of it. I just want to try to stress it, especially with your capacity is going to grow if this passes. You're going to have more people.
Oh,
so
sure.
I just want to make sure.
We're very clear about parking
Yeah,
spaces.
I just, because one of the things that I want to consider if we agree to this is to see what we can do about changing our hours of leaving that back parking lot open to the public, maybe changing the hours to Friday afternoon through Sunday or something.
Meaning that when you're not using the parking spots,
Yeah,
that
we have
patrons can
100.
use.
Yeah, we have 100 volunteers, and they're having a harder time finding a place to park for their meetings at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So they're parking out here, which is great. I think it's important we give them a place to park since they're volunteering, and that was my concern about walking along the side of our building.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also feel that I mean, we would hope that we would see more patrons come in and volume pick up, but I don't anticipate that right away. I feel like that's going to be more of a marketing move to let people know, hey, there's a restaurant, Ambrose Restaurant. It's serving meals indoors and in our outdoor patio. Because I have come to realize after 5 years of having the restaurant and 12 years of having the inn, that many people from town don't know that there's a restaurant inside. And so by having that little cute patio with the garden and some umbrellas and chairs, it could be like, oh, what's that? And so we don't anticipate sitting everybody there. It'll be more like an initial contact point to bring them in.
Yeah. I'm thinking on the positive side that you're going to be full.
You must come. We'll take very good care of you.
Bribes here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying.
Thank you. Well, what are we to expect? Is it maybe a few days, or is a decision going to be made now?
We're going to, as soon as we ask you our questions and deliberate, we should have an answer for you before you leave.
Thank you.
We will have an answer for you before you leave. Thank you for your questions.
Oh, thank you.
Mr.
You're not done yet.
Mr. Chartrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Selectwoman Belanger. Firstly, it's gorgeous what you've done there. Thank you. I'm personally appreciative, both as a citizen of the town and as a select board member.
Thank you.
Everything you do is top-notch, and you make the neighborhood better, so thank you for that. Yes, putting dining there is wonderful for the town, and it'll publicize the fact that you have a restaurant as part of the inn. I totally understand that, and I'm totally supportive of that. The egress for our volunteers that Selectwoman Belanger talked about is vital, and you understand that, and you have no plans to block that or be upset that some of those folks might be walking past your diners.
No, I understand that. From time to time, we will have people that perhaps don't see that as a clear, roped-off area. But however, the area will always remain open if you look at the left section closer to the building. There's no. I don't plan on having like a planter or chain or anything. It's going to be open for anybody to walk through.
Because you're a good neighbor.
Thank
Obviously, by all the
that won't
time
be an
and
issue.
money that you've put in beautifying that, of course.
Thank you.
But it's important for us to know.
That won't be an issue for anybody walking through from the back in front of the building.
Just part of the local color, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you've done for the neighborhood and for the town.
Thank you. It's very nice to hear that from you. We get a lot of comments from time to time. Just within the garden, being out there, many people don't hesitate in saying things as such. We welcome those comments, but we welcome you to Ambrose. When are you coming?
I need to get there more.
Spend a lot of time at meetings.
Any other questions for Mr. Lopez?
No, just that we'll, if we're voting on this tonight, we'll let him, I don't know how we're going to handle this. If he wants to expand this till November, we have to make sure, do we have to note that or just approve it?
I got a
Okay,
motion
good.
brewing in my head, and if I
Okay.
just have.
It does look very, very lovely, by the way. It does.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it to make it less complicated on you and on us? Would it be feasible to ask that the permit, if you're looking for exact dates, to be permitted, adding 2 months before, 2 months after? We know that we're probably not going to use it in March, April, and we're probably not going to use it in November, December timeframe.
Well, how long
Just
is this
because
gonna be good
The only thing with that is when we make the motion this evening, we have to state the fee, and the prorated fee is based on presumably June 1st through October 31st.
May I respectfully update that now? I was the one who asked for the permit.
So you want to do June 1st through, what would you like to revise the permit to?
Jamie, could I jump in?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, is that okay?
Please.
I think you should just ask for a permit year-round. You don't know what the weather's going to be.
That's what I was leaning towards too.
Yeah.
By amending this
If
request.
the board is amenable.
Sure. But 5 months have already gone by. Right.
For this year, yeah.
Well, we only have the authority to grant, the permit is annually, like any other permit for any other.
So it would be June.
It would be June 1st through
June
December
1st through December
31st.
31st, if that's.
Yes, I would agree with that, if that's okay with you.
The only,
Because, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. The only thing, if we're going to do it year-round, is snow removal around our building, access to snow removal around our building. I wasn't worried about snow removal through October, but we should,
I'm sure that we can work together to.
What was the issue with snow removal?
yes, we have to be able to access around the building for snow removal. It wasn't even a consideration for me because it was
So-
October.
The answer to that, I think, would be if there's snow to be removed, he's not going to be out there. Right? You won't be having outside dining if there's snow to be removed.
So
Brett,
the
there
snow,
won't be.
I think what Mr. Chartrand's saying is, as it stands now, he removes the snow for safety reasons for folks to walk through.
Yeah.
And that if it's snowing, they probably wouldn't be setting up the.
Right, but if in February we get a heat wave and he
We're
opens,
only doing it through 2025.
okay.
So.
I won't be
So
opening
this
in
would be,
February.
that's where I missed something then. So this would only be until December 31st?
Each permit for any applicant
Is within that
is
year.
1 year.
Perfect.
So it's for all, it's remaining consistent with
Okay.
all of our other
And
permits.
typically, this is approved by someone other than the select board. The reason you're here tonight is because you're looking for a fee waiver.
Right.
So,
So if you want to go 1231, can you work up the fee for me so I can make a motion?
Sure. He's asking for a fee waiver.
I understand that.
Okay. The one question that I had, Russ, was I just noticed that fire didn't sign off. Did they have any issues with using that pathway? Is there any fire lane safety issue?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
So were they asked? Do they need to be asked?
They may need to follow up with us.
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion, and you won't have to come back. And you probably want to get started tomorrow.
No, we have a very busy house with graduation weekend approaching.
Here's
I
what
don't
here's what
anticipate
I'd like to
use
do.
that
Here's what I'd like to do.
tomorrow.
You don't have to come back. You're more than welcome to come back and sit through another meeting, but you don't have to. What I would like to do is to table this until our next meeting, which is June 16th, for two purposes. The first is let's get the permit revised
Yep.
with the exact dates and the exact amount of the fee through December 31st. But more importantly, and thank you, Melissa, for bringing this up, I'd like fire to sign off on it, which is required of all applications, not just this one. So providing that fire doesn't have a problem, we'll have the application updated. We can take it up at our next meeting, and if everything's good, you're ready to get going on June 17th.
Thank you very
Is that
much.
fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's your next meeting is on the
June
16th?
June 16th. Again, you're welcome to, it's a public meeting, but if you don't want to sit through, I think you've answered our questions.
Okay.
This is more technical in terms of making sure the application is accurate, making sure public safety has signed off. And I know that, to Selectwoman Belanger's concerns, we've been such good neighbors through the years that if there's an issue moving forward, we'll work it
I
out.
can be
We always do.
flexible. I can be flexible.
You always have been, so I'm comfortable with
It's always good for the public to hear that we're touching on all of the things. That's, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Dean, I'd like to table this.
Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry, Selectwoman Gilman.
Yeah, I've been waiting a long time to have a chance to speak. I just had a question about, on the application, it talks about lighting outdoor fire pits or things like that. Are we anticipating anything like that? Certainly the lighting.
Fire
will-
pits? No.
Certainly the
No,
lighting will
lighting,
help
yes.
us.
Lighting,
Because we don't provide any. Which is-
in my experience, people don't like to be outdoors because of the bugs.
Mhm.
So it's going to be more of an early evening thing. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
People don't like to be out.
After 8.
Yeah, it just people are not comfortable. So I don't anticipate that using. Again, it's going to be more of a marketing piece.
Sure.
And we're probably not going to have a lot of people there, but I want to have the option if we should have that popularity.
Well, I agree with my colleague, Ms. Belanger. I think you're going to be busier than you think.
Yep,
I hope so.
yeah, I do. I think it's a good time to try this and initiate it, and
This is a good idea.
some patience.
thank you.
I think it's a great idea.
It's a good idea, and I appreciate you being patient with us to make sure we're getting this right.
I understand.
Okay, thank you very
And
much.
I'm not worried about lighting. That was the other thing. I was just, because we're the abutters, and we don't have to worry about your lights coming into people's houses, so.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Ms. McElroy just responded and said the reason that we haven't sent it out to the other departments is that this was a request for fee waiver. To her, is what she said, and that if you guys decided on the fee waiver, she would send
Yeah.
it around. I'm not quite sure, but
I'd like to just make sure everything's done. So
I agree.
we'll
But
get
just
that done.
letting.
Yes, thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Wanted you to know.
No, I appreciate that.
Exciting.
And Selectwoman Gilman, I apologize for your wait.
That's all right. Yeah.
All right,
We
we
worked
good?
on it.
I'm great.
Okay. So we'll take this up on the 16th, and the town manager's office will get back to you on the 17th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
I love this. He's plugging as he goes out the
need to
door.
take out into
Good.
Mr. Cronin, you've been waiting a long time. You look like
You
someone
have.
that wants to go home.
I know.
Step right up, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So immediately following town meeting, we advertised bids for the Linden Street repair project. We received bids on April 28th and opened them here at the Select Board meeting. Those bids included a base bid amount as well as 2 add alternates. We sent those bids back with our consultant to review them. There was one bid from New England Infrastructure. The add alternates, one was for alternative bridge rail, and the second was for shotcrete facing on the abutment walls, which is more of a cosmetic item. With that, we were still slightly over our available appropriation on the base bid. Our consultant went back, contacted the contractor and asked them if they'd be willing to negotiate some of the items in the bid so that we could fit it within our appropriation and proceed with the project this year. One of the main reasons for doing that is we didn't receive a lot of interest, and the other was, in the interest of time, trying to get the project done this year and not having to worry about escalation for another year. So they were gracious enough to work with us. We were able to reduce the scope slightly, which means that Public Works will have to absorb a few minor items in the contract, or in the project rather, including bridge rail removal, final paving, which will be done with our paving contractor, as well as traffic control. But with that, we're able to recommend a contract award to New England Infrastructure in the amount of $1,350,000, which is in our available appropriations so that we can proceed with the project as soon as possible. It also affords us the ability to approve a contract amendment with Wright Pierce for construction phase engineering services to provide full-time on-site construction oversight and inspection.
Thank you. Pretty straightforward. I appreciate your efforts doing that to make this work. Any questions or comments?
No, I'm just relieved we don't have to go back in front of voters for a third time, because we have such a wonderful form of government, but twice is enough.
Okay. If there are no questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to award a contract to New England Infrastructure Incorporated for the Linden Street Bridge Repair Project in the amount of $1,350,000, and to approve a contract amendment with Wright Pierce for construction phase engineering services in the amount of $113,934, and to further authorize the town manager or their designee to sign the associated contract documents.
So moved.
Second.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, Steve.
Thanks
Travel
for your work,
safely.
Steve.
Good night.
Good night. All right, so I don't forget, let's tackle
Yeah.
Kristen's and we can go back to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the break on my, on my throat, to be honest.
All right.
Good call on that, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Dean or Ms. Roy, did either of you want to speak to this? The memo is pretty straightforward, but I didn't know if you had anything to add.
Nothing to add except a great job by Kristen Murphy.
Another grant.
Another grant for Kristen.
I think this summer, the board would like to see, informally, let's go back 3 years and see how much grant money both Dave Sharples and Kristen Murphy have
Yeah, when did
obtained
Kristen
on
take
behalf
her
of the
new
town.
position? Was it
A year and a
3
half
years?
ago? Year ago?
Yeah.
Kristen taking on full-time?
Yeah, it was longer ago
Yeah,
than that.
Yeah, I agree. It would be good to see.
For no other reason that we're interested in just to recognize them
Yeah.
for the great work that they do.
Yeah, Murphy and Sharples are a two-cylinder machine.
Agree.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to authorize the town manager or their designee to execute any and all related agreements for acceptance of the 2025 Great Bay Protection Partnership Stewardship Grant Funding in the amount of $2,963.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you again, Kristen Murphy.
May,
Go ahead.
Russ, did you tell them about the Coastal Adaptation Work Group Champion Award that Kristen got?
I did not.
So just to follow up on our touche to Kristen, it says, please feel free, this is from Kristen, to share this as well. I've been selected to receive a second award. This one from the Coastal Adaptation Work Group, CAW, for a New Hampshire CAW Community Champion. Details of the award are linked below. Do not know who nominated her, but that she's going to learn. So she has been given, and we just got this email. I can't remember when, but recently. So, yeah.
Well
Well-deserved.
deserved. Well
Yeah.
deserved. Good job, Kristen. Before I forget, save your voice for one more second. Let's take up the appointment this evening. We interviewed John Del Santo for an alternate position for the zoning board. So I would entertain a motion to appoint John Del Santo to the zoning board, ZBA, as an alternate for a term to expire in April 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a motion and a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Mr. Dean, your office will reach out to him this week. Great. And thank you, Mr. Del Santo, for volunteering your time to the ZBA. Now, Madam Clerk, you're nice and rested.
And I appreciate the rest. Okay, so for abatements, I move map 110, lot 2, unit 11, in the amount of $229.80 for the tax year 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 111, in the amount of $425.25 for the tax year 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 11, in the amount of $381.15 for the tax year 2023.
You said 11, but it's 111.
I will do that again. Map 110, lot 2, unit 111, in the amount of $381.15 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, lot 5, unit 10, in the amount of $194.21 for the tax year 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, lot 5, unit 10, in the amount of $221.39 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, lot 5, unit 4, in the amount of $438.27 for
Second.
the
Oops, sorry.
tax year 2022.
Sorry about that.
No.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, Lot 5, Unit 4, in the amount of $395.17 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 70, Lot 99, in the amount of $969.56 for the tax year 2024.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'm going to combine 4 denials.
Okay.
So the first one is map 72, lot 183. The next is map 64, lot 105, unit 40. The next one is map 68, lot 6, unit 513. And map 87, lot 8, unit B-15. All 4 denials.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. May I ask you to pause for one moment?
Absolutely.
Mr. Dean, this is the request we looked at our last meeting?
On the interest waiver?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I asked for more information.
Did you not get it?
It's not in the packet.
Oh, I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Are we
I know
table?
Pam, I believe, said it might be in the envelope over there.
In the folder?
Yes, if you just want to check.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
kind
have
of
the
deja
folder.
vu.
Okay, hold on.
Could be wrong, but I thought that.
Nope, it's,
Well, I remember that's what I said
Yep.
last meeting.
Oh, no, I mean, what, excuse me.
it's not the place it should be though, but okay, let's see if we can find it.
This is the plank request?
Interest refund.
Yes.
You know what? Typically, it's in the packet
Yeah, it should be in
for
the
us
packet.
to review, right?
Yes.
Can we try again for the 16th?
Sure.
3 times a charm?
And this is for, which, thank you.
This is for the interest refund, map 90, lot 29.
Thank you.
I mean, I've seen it because we prepped for it before our May 19th meeting, but the rest of the board hasn't seen it.
Right.
And it's important that they see it, and I really would rather,
There's
it's
nothing,
an,
yeah.
yeah, but it's got to be.
No, no, I
yeah,
agree with
It's
you.
got to be in our packet, so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the extra work, but that's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
So
Madam.
do I have to motion to table it, or are we,
You can.
okay, so I move to table an interest refund request, map 90, lot 29.
I'll second that.
It's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Dean, Town Manager's report, please.
Sure. The police and fire substation update, the value engineering continues on that. The design development phase is complete, and Dave Sharples will be updating the board at a future meeting, maybe on the 16th of June.
Great, okay.
So we'll see how that goes. And then Unitil's gas main work continues on High Street and Water Street. Dump truck 33 has arrived and is registered, and I signed a grant last week on the styrofoam recycler project, so that's moving ahead.
Great.
And then the Epping Road widening is about to begin again in June once school lets out. You should see an amended contract coming from Severino soon on that. The HR director position has closed, and we're in the process of reviewing applications for that. And then the senior coordinator position has been filled. We've been able to fill that position, so.
Terrific.
Good news there.
That's very good news.
Then the Webster Avenue force main work has started, finally. And then, as I mentioned earlier tonight, the West Side Drive project bid opening is June 16th.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Dean? No? Okay. Thank you, Russ.
You're welcome.
Select Board Committee reports. Let's start down here this time. Mr. Chartrand.
I've only gotten halfway
Caught you off
through
guard.
my prep. Give me 1 second here. All right. On the 19th of May, as I mentioned earlier in the meeting, I met with Keith Whitehouse at the Smith Page Conservation Area. We had an amazing walkthrough of that property. And I, again, thank Mr. Whitehouse for being my tour guide. Stunning, stunning. More people need to visit Smith Page off of Drinkwater Road. On the, stay with me here. On the 26th, I participated in the Memorial Day Parade with the chair and Selectwoman Belanger, thank you, and Town Manager Rustine. And amazing job by Florence Ruffner and Mr. Del Santo and all the other members of that committee organizing the Memorial Day festivities for the town. Not just the parade, but the commemoration at Gale Park, and then the further commemoration at the town cemetery on Linden Street. Every year, they just hit it out of the park, and I'm very grateful to them for what they do. On the 28th of May, last Wednesday, a Facilities Advisory Committee meeting was scheduled, but our chair, Mark Layton, postponed it or canceled it. And I apologize to Pam for us not notifying her that we were doing that. I should have done that, and I take responsibility for that. I knew that she should have been notified, and I just lapsed on that. So my apologies, Pam. And then finally, I was out at the transfer station on May 30th to celebrate the opening of our solar array. And along with Selectwoman Gilman, I got to hold the ribbon while our chair cut the ribbon and opened the tours of our gorgeous solar array out there. It really is an amazing facility, and I'm so grateful that Unitil double-timed it and got it up and running now. So thank you to Unitil.
Great, thank you. Selectwoman Belanger.
So I'll add on the Memorial Day Parade. I apologize, when I was talking to kids, I couldn't remember anyone else's name, so I'll second what Dan said. And the turnout, the public turnout was just wonderful, too. I missed the solar array, but thanks to Exeter TV, it was almost like being there. So I am so glad that happened, and I was sad to miss that event, but I'm glad the rest of you were there. And I only have one meeting to report on, and that was the Rec Advisory Board. It was May 28th. Amanda Kelly, who has been working on our ADA, I talked about that at a previous meeting. She was going to come to the Rec Advisory Board just to start a conversation about what possibilities for assistance and things. And she talked with Greg Bisson, and she's coming July. So if anyone's interested, that conversation has not happened yet, but it's scheduled for July 23rd. 10 Hampton Road, apparently there's a little bit of an over-budget issue that Greg discussed, but he didn't get into details. So I didn't ask for more details, so I'm just giving the board a heads up that he said he might have to come to us for some more funds, I know. And that Planet Playground is open, and it looks wonderful. And there might be a few closing times just for a few tweaks that need to be done, but that was pretty exciting, and it looks wonderful. So the 2 interns started last week. They feel that they're interviewing for the senior coordinator, but that they're hoping that will be filled.
It was offered to someone today.
Oh, see? Yes. Yeah, even better, thank you. Yes, the Rec Advisory Board they're really excited about the senior programming, all the programming, but, the senior, to have that coordinator voted in, thank you to the public, the voting public. What else did I want to hit? Oh, the ADA van arrived.
Yay.
Yes, and it's a little bit bigger than they were used to, so they've been test driving it around to get used to the size.
It was the size they expected.
Right.
They wanted it a little bit bigger with the wheelchair.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So thank you. Yeah, that much better. But yes, I thought it was great that they're driving around, they're test driving it and
Where?
putting it into, before it's filled with.
No, I know, but where? So we can
Didn't
stay
ask.
clear.
I did not ask.
They worked with Meals on Wheels because they drive a bus similar, and I think Stefan helped them a little bit.
Good. Thank you.
So, let's see. I'm trying to read my writing here, so sorry about that. I don't know who's part of the 250. Is it Carolyn?
Caroline, yeah.
Yeah, Caroline. So they were talking about that a little bit, to maybe add some historical sites, trips and things for our celebration next year. One of the fundraising events that they talked about in the past, the Bear Garden has been tabled permanently. They decided that wasn't a good idea. However, there was no vote, but unanimous support of a townwide yard sale. They're working out some of the details, possibly in October, pay to be on a map type of thing. So, and of course, fundraising bricks, really great opportunity. Go on the town website. It's $100. And yeah, it'd be great to sell some bricks. And we're hoping to keep that brick sale going and maybe go out to 10 Hampton Road to do a pass. So I think that's $100 is a really great. My sisters and I, the three of us are going in on one to do for my mother. So if that helps people with ideas and.
And I did speak with Greg and David today and was told we're on budget, so.
I'm sorry.
I just didn't want to panic anyone.
No, I know.
My understanding is we're on budget, so I will look into that and
Thank
double
you.
check, but I think we're good. Dave Sharples and I have been.
I really didn't ask him what specifically, because he didn't seem really sure, but he was letting the rec advisory board know that there might need to be more funds, so, yeah.
No problem, we'll
I just like the board to know, if I had a heads up, I think the rest of them need to have a heads up, so. Thank you. That is the
Thank you.
conclusion of my report.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Selectwoman Gilman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to give you my one committee report.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then move over to that chair.
Okay.
You give your committee reports, and then I'll do the state stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. My only committee report was the Heritage Commission met on the 21st. We had a regular morning meeting. We talked about what's going to be our next step in surveying the town's history. We talked about going off-site for another meeting, although I don't think I coordinated June very well. So, but the chair we have now, friend Elise, has brought to us this idea, and it's really nice. I don't know how it works for the Exeter TV crew, but traveling around and having the Heritage Commission meet in other places, like we've done the Historical Society, we're interested in the Folsom Tavern, something like that, do the town hall.
Yeah.
And then that evening, we did a presentation of the Pine Street, Elliott Street area historical assessment. And there were several of the residents that came, and we presented what the survey that we had received a grant for that just tells the history of the growth of that area. I didn't know there used to be acres of greenhouses, and people are still finding glass in the yard from where they used to be. But they got ruined in the hurricane of '38.
Oh.
So, and there's a whole story of one family buying all of that area, and then slowly other people buying chunks and dividing chunks. And so that's why you see some things all in the same period, but then you'll see other ones that are newer or older. But the people that were there, it was really interesting that they knew pretty much everything we told them. So it was like that's a very interesting crew. So, and that is my report.
Thank you.
Can I just say that was a fascinating meeting?
Good, thank you.
I watched it, and then I started watching again with I printed out your attachment because it was really helpful to follow along, and I recommend anybody and everyone watching that. It was, the history of that area is fascinating.
Well,
I knew some, but I didn't know all, so.
I'm going to do another presentation of this, of the Franklin Street area one that we did, which is not an architectural wonder of a world, but there is a whole lot of the growth of the town. Like, it's the area that immigrants used to settle first because it was near the factories. And then there's a whole carriage making area, and well, I know a lot. There's another report on, it's on our website.
I'm looking forward to it. That was a great meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
So I attended the parade with Selectwoman Belanger, Selectman Chartrand, and Mr. Dean. The solar array, I was there, of course. Excuse me.
I forgot something.
Swayze Park trustees met on the 21st, and the agenda was fairly quick. All placeholders, Coastal Resiliency Grant. Dwayne is the Swayze Park trustee representative. They went over some trees they need to look at. They talked about the equipment shed, and some electricity was discussed briefly, but it was a fairly quick meeting, and they'll meet again next month. So with that, I will recognize Representative Gilman at the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, the Select Board, for getting an update. We're getting to the end of the season at the State House. We're meeting Thursday and the following Thursday, and then not again till the last Thursday in June, which is the last day to do any business in the House, as far as bills go. And so I just wanted to highlight a few that we're going to be dealing with on Thursday. One I think that is important to the town. What's the number 297?
SB 297?
Yeah, SB 297 was the pooled risk management bill, and we got it to be the way we want it to be, right?
Assessment versus non-assessment.
Right, and so our insurance coverage is still okay.
Intact.
It's still intact, and we don't have to figure it out every year or make a guess of, which business we want to use for insurance. There are 4 election law bills, SB 213, 218, 221, and 287. They all have to do with absentee balloting or registration for voting, IDs and birth certificates and naturalization papers. They all require some form of proof of citizenship, and just making it more and more difficult for people. And it doesn't just affect people coming in to register at the polls. It affects anybody. The one bill affects anybody that asks for an absentee ballot, that they have to show even if they've already been registered, they still will have to show all their same documentation that they did to be registered. But that's the way the bill is written. It's just poorly written. So there are 4 bills that have to do with some kind of, we have to say voter suppression. And the last one is moving the state primary to the second Tuesday in June. So that would be next week. And then let's see. Another very interesting one, which is disappointing for us, but we still have the last stopgap at the governor, is SB 475, and it deals with default budgets. And it is just every year we're jiggering and jiggering and jiggering with the default budgets. And this one reaches forward and back to create a default budget, and it goes back even further. So if we propose a budget that has, we've eliminated some personnel in our proposed budget, fine. That needs to be also taken out of the default budget. Because remember, the default budget is the same as last year's budget. So now they're saying, okay, last year's budget had these positions. You're proposing for next year's budget to take away 2 positions, and so therefore your default budget should also take away those 2 positions. So it's, last year's proposed
Even
minus.
though that drop in personnel has not yet been approved by town meeting.
Correct.
Yeah, that's.
Just proposing, wow.
Yeah. And then another one continues on to talk about how long a empty position can remain empty and budgeted for. So that, for example, we have 5 empty positions in Public Works. If we don't fill them within a year, then we don't budget for them next year. Or they're not included in the default budget, I'm sorry.
This is getting more and more dangerous.
It is, and then that one we'd have to write to the governor about because it's been passed by both bodies. SB 54, which started out as an amendment to alcohol testing penalties and can't think of the word. Anyway, for alcohol testing,
has had 2 amendments added to it that we'll be deciding on Thursday. The First Amendment adds firearms training to public schools, kindergarten through 12th grade. Age appropriate firearms training, safety training. Not how to use them, but how to be safe with them. So that is, yeah, so alcohol testing, add firearms to K through 12. Firearms safety, I have to stress that. And then they further added onto it age-appropriate discussion about abusive relationships.
Can I ask, did anyone define what age appropriate? Okay.
Well, actually,
Why
it does a
would we
little
do
bit.
that?
It says, you don't actually physically see a gun until maybe middle school, and they talk about how to store them. There's no actual target practice, but still, it's making everybody uncomfortable that your kindergarten kid's going to be starting to talk about firearms when they don't need to.
Okay.
And the budget. Tomorrow, the New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute, which is a nonpartisan research nonprofit, is having they've done a series of presentations on the state budget and what's included and what's not included, what gets damaged, what gets improved. They are having a webinar tomorrow morning. I'm sorry it's so late in the night, and telling you about something tomorrow morning at 10:30. If you go on their website, nhfpi.org, you can find it under their events button, and sign up to watch it. And it will be recorded, so you can come back to it afterwards. But some of the budget highlights right now, because the House finished its go at it, the Senate's been making some changes, and one of the things they've done is restored partially some funding for UNH that the House had zeroed out. They restored the meals and rooms taxes to the same calculation that we were used to, instead of just the same as last year. Local planning commissions, I'm not sure, but I still think they are not funded, which means when we saw Mr. Bogle came for the multimodal parking survey, which one of the traffic survey? One of those surveys. We won't be able to ask them to do those kind of things, or they won't be able to do those kind of things for us, looking at the traffic patterns and the studies of how to better make our downtown enjoyable for all types of transportation. And then, here's a good one, the State Council on the Arts. Originally, the House had just excluded funding for it altogether, as well as the state library. Big noise from the public about how dare you take away our state library, and magically the funding was restored. So thank you, people, for calling out your reps and your senators and even the governor to talk about that. But the State Council on the Arts was also included in the cuts. And when it went to the Senate, they said, well, we'd be the only state in the nation, only state in the nation not to support the arts at the state level. So, we're either the first or the last. It's getting very frustrating. So the Senate reinstated $1 for that line item, so it hold the place for a couple of years, and then we can decide again in 2027. But then, after the barrage of comments from people, they actually have proposed a budget for it, and more in the $350,000 range. And I'll tell you that this council, it's close to my heart, because the American Independence Museum has a grant from the Arts Council every year to fund the artisans at the Independence Festival every year. And we've counted on it. They love what we do. They don't give out huge grants, like $30,000 for something happening in Somersworth. They do small grants, but they support artists from all over the state, all kinds of artists, poets to artisans to painters. And to be the only state not to support the arts is just something I would not, I don't know how to express that. How disappointing that would be. So, there are also several zoning mandates, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. One of them will prohibit planning boards from counting bedrooms when looking at a site plan review. I don't know how that works because you have a house and you have bedrooms. And the other is that you cannot require more than one parking space per dwelling unit, which will solve our parking problem in theory, but not in practice.
I agree with you.
It'll make site plans easier for developers, but it won't help us with our density. And so at this point, if you have heard of anything that you are interested in either helping shut down or wanting more of, it's just about time to just go straight to the governor and start calling the governor, writing to the governor and saying, don't keep this please, or take this out please. But remember also that there is no line item veto for the governor, so if you start talking to her now, there might be time for her to work with House and Senate to change some numbers. And I could go on, but I think I'm going to leave it there.
Great. Thank you for the update.
Why do I feel deflated?
Excuse me?
Oh, my. Thank you.
Okay, reviewing our correspondence quickly, we have the 3 letters that I referred to that were presented at the solar array from our respected senators and Representative Pappas. We have a memo from the Health Trust on SB 297 that Selectwoman Gilman talked about. We have an email that was sent by a resident to the Select Board on a Planning Board issue that has been directed back to the Planning Board. My understanding is that the Planning Board is directly communicating with this individual, Mr. Nealon. We have a letter of thanks from St. Vincent de Paul for the Human Services grant. And finally, we have the NHMA legislative update. Reviewing the board calendar. We've been talking about June, July. I had some thoughts on August and September that I'm going to hold until Selectwoman Cowan's back. Sorry.
No, I think it's perfect. I don't want to be on my phone unless...
Because August is going to get... August may be funny, and then I wanted to set up September so that we could position the last meeting to be the budget presentation. So I'm thinking, Mr. Dean, if we'll wait for Molly to come back, but if you could start looking at possibly the Tuesday after Labor Day as a meeting in September, that will line up very well. But for what we've already confirmed, a reminder, June 16th, June 30th, July 14th, July 28th, and August 11th. And we'll wait for Selectwoman Cowan to come back. And then I would ask if there's any other business for the board?
I have one question.
Sure.
If I could.
Yep.
Do we have to have new ones for signing?
No, we can sign the one on the left because that's what we approved.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't sign anything.
Right. We don't have to mention anything about the other one. Thank you. I just want to make sure.
Approving it. Yep.
Okay.
So let's get rid of the one.
I am.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Any other business before the board? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
So motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you and good night, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.